Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff in a twilight desert, sweat cooling on your skin as the last crimson streaks of sunset bleed into night. In your hands rests a chest of gold, its weight straining your arms. Gold you spent a decade crossing oceans and deserts to claim. The moment you pry it open, the coins inside melt into black sand, streaming through your fingers until only dust remains. A voice whispers from the void, "What you chased was never real." This is not a nightmare, this is desire. The human mind is a labyrinth of mirrors, each reflection warping what we think we see. We are born reaching for love, status, meaning, yet the tighter we clutch, the faster it slips away. Arthur Schopenhauer, the 19th century philosopher who called desire the torment of Tantalus, understood this with brutal clarity. His warning cuts deeper now than ever. All striving springs from want, from deficiency, and thus from suffering. But here's the paradox that cracks open the soul. The very act of wanting destroys the thing you seek. Consider the CEO who sacrifices health and relationships to reach the pinnacle of success, only to find herself staring at a hollow throne. The artist who craves recognition, then withers under the spotlight's glare. The lover who idealizes their partner until the real person becomes a ghost. Desire promises liberation, but delivers captivity. It is the ultimate shapeshifter, masquerading as ambition, love, even spirituality, while its roots coil around your spine, pulling you deeper into its game. Why does fulfillment dissolve upon contact? Why does the mind need dissatisfaction like lungs need air? Schopenhauer's answer is a gut punch. Desire is not a flaw in the system, it is the system. The will, his term for the primal force driving all existence, is a blind, insatiable hunger. It built you to want, not to have, to chase, not to arrive. Your nervous system, he argued, is wired so that satisfaction lasts only as long as a match flare. Then the darkness returns, thicker than before. Modern neuroscience confirms this in eerie detail. Dopamine, the wanting molecule, spikes not when you achieve a goal, but when you anticipate it. The moment you grasp the prize, dopamine plummets, leaving you empty-handed in a chemical drought. Evolution's cruel joke. You're engineered to orbit happiness like a moon, never touching ground. Yet society screams the opposite. Scroll through any feed, manifest your dreams, claim your destiny. We have turned desire into a moral imperative, a glittering hamster wheel spinning faster as algorithms feed our hunger. Even self-improvement, that noble pursuit, becomes another branch on the bonfire. You meditate to calm your mind, only to judge yourself for not meditating well enough. You chase enlightenment like a commodity, ensuring it stays forever out of reach. The question isn't how to want better. It's why wanting itself fractures us. Picture a child chasing a soap bubble, laughter ringing as it floats just beyond their fingertips. Now imagine the bubble never pops. The child runs forever, legs burning, laughter turning to screams. That is the human condition. Schopenhauer called it the pendulum of life, swinging between pain and boredom. But what if the pendulum isn't swinging? What if it's a noose? We'll dissect this knot in the next section. How centuries of thinkers, from Buddha to Jung, have mapped desire's trap, and why modern culture sharpens its teeth. For now, sit with the void where your gold chest once stood. The wind is picking up, the stars are watching, and the most dangerous thought of all begins to stir. What if the only way to win is to stop playing? What if winning the game means you lose the game? If you thought that was a paradox, just wait till we reveal how life's biggest prizes often turn out to be counterfeit, leaving you empty-handed and even more desperate. Ready to dive into the abyss of desire? Let's explore why wanting is cleverly designed to keep you eternally wanting. But first, a little motivation goes a long way. Show some love and support. if you're loving the content. Now let's get back to the abyss. Deep within the recesses of our psyche, there exists a disconcerting truth about the nature of desire that renowned psychologist and philosopher William James so eloquently put: the greater the desire, the greater the danger of pain. Why is it that our most ardent wishes have a way of turning against us, causing us more torment than satisfaction? James suggests that this phenomenon is deeply rooted in the workings of our subconscious mind. Our deepest desires often originate from the enigmatic realm of the subconscious, where primal instincts and buried emotions take root. As these desires surge forth from the depths of our psyche, they exert a powerful influence over our thoughts, emotions, and actions. However, as James astutely observed, the intensity of these desires can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, the very strength of our cravings propels us forward with unwavering determination. We invest our hopes, our energy, and our entire being into the pursuit of these desires, believing that their fulfillment will bring us lasting joy and contentment. But as we all too frequently discover, the gratification of our most ardent wishes doesn't always live up to the hype. The satisfaction is often fleeting, leaving us in a state of discontent and yearning for more. James posits that this inherent ambiguity in the nature of desire is a fundamental aspect of the human condition. Our deepest longings, while promising ultimate fulfillment, inevitably lead to a sense of incompleteness once they are realized. This inherent dissatisfaction stems from the fact that our subconscious desires often arise from a place of emotional deficiency or trauma. We subconsciously perceive certain desires as a means to fill the void within us, to heal past wounds, or to escape from the pain of the present. However, as James points out, these desires can never truly quench the emotional thirst that drives them. The pursuit of wealth, fame, or love, for instance, may initially seem like the key to our happiness, but ultimately leaves us grappling with a persistent sense of emptiness. This is because the satisfaction we derive from external sources can never truly compensate for the internal imbalances that drive our subconscious longings. The trap lies in mistaking these transient moments of pleasure for lasting fulfillment. When we do so, we inadvertently set ourselves up for a lifetime of unfulfilled desires and perpetual discontent. As James warns, it is in our relentless pursuit of these illusory forms of satisfaction that we risk losing sight of what truly matters in life. The irony, as James so eloquently puts it, is that in our desperate attempts to escape suffering, we often find ourselves plunged deeper into it. The realization that our greatest desires can lead us down a path of torment and despair is a sobering truth. It challenges us to confront the complexities of our subconscious psyche and to approach our deepest longings with a sense of caution and self-awareness. By understanding the intricate workings of our minds, we can navigate the treacherous waters of desire more effectively and steer ourselves toward a more balanced and fulfilling life. Recognizing the allure and danger of our subconscious desires, we can strive to find a harmonious balance between pursuing our dreams and nurturing our inner peace. Remember, the greatest journeys often begin with a single step. If you found this video thought-provoking, don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments. Your insights might just resonate with someone else who's on a similar journey of self-discovery. Desire has been both celebrated and vilified, lauded as the engine of progress and condemned as the source of suffering. But beneath this complex duality lies a sobering truth. You are not in control of your desires. They are the product of a vast, intricate machinery operating within and around you, shaping your every move, thought, and emotion without your conscious awareness. This revelation is not a mere philosophical musing. It is a call to action, an urgent summons to confront the puppeteers of your life before it's too late. This is a call for revolt against the tyranny of desire. It's time to wake up to the subtle machinations that have stripped you of your autonomy. Your desires are not your own. They are the echoes of a cacophony of influences, neurological compulsions, cognitive biases, cultural conditioning, and societal brainwashing. Together, they form a chorus that drowns out your authentic self, leaving you a mere spectator in the theater of your own life. At the neurological level, your desires are orchestrated by a complex ballet of neurochemicals and cognitive biases. Dopamine, often hailed as the reward molecule, is more accurately the wanting molecule. It fuels the anticipation, the craving, rather than the satisfaction. This creates a relentless loop. You chase dopamine, but it's a moving target, always just out of reach. The consequence is a life lived on a hedonic treadmill where happiness is a mirage on the horizon. Your brain, in its infinite complexity, is hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. This drive is hijacked by the design of modern life. Our surroundings, experiences, and relationships are engineered to trigger dopamine spikes, keeping you locked in a cycle of craving and consumption. Cognitive biases amplify this neurological manipulation. The high availability bias makes you overestimate the likelihood of events based on how easily examples come to mind. The framing effect colors your perception of choices based on how they are presented, not their actual substance. These biases warp your understanding of risk, reward, and happiness, leading you to make decisions that feed the desire machine rather than liberate you from it. Cultural conditioning adds another layer to this intricate web. From childhood, you are immersed in a culture that equates desire with virtue, need with value. You're told that happiness is just around the corner, just one purchase, one achievement, one status symbol away. This cultural conditioning is reinforced by the all-pervasive influence of advertising and social media. You're bombarded with images of an idealized life, perfect bodies, and flawless relationships, all presented as attainable through the products or services being advertised. It's a clever manipulation that exploits your deepest desires and insecurities. And as you grow older, this conditioning takes on a more insidious form. The pursuit of material success, social status, and cultural approval becomes a way of measuring your worth. You chase external markers of achievement, sacrificing precious moments of joy and contentment at the altar of ambition. The pervasiveness of this desire trap is truly staggering. It permeates every aspect of your life, from the food you eat to the clothes you wear, from the friends you keep to the goals you pursue. It has become the invisible architecture of your existence. But the mastermind behind this design is not some abstract force. It is a complex interplay of systems and structures that benefit from keeping you trapped. Industries from marketing to entertainment to technology thrive on your desire. They profit from keeping you locked in a cycle of craving and consumption. As you chase the dopamine-fueled fantasies presented to you, your data is harvested, your attention is monetized, and your life becomes a product. The urgency of this realization cannot be overstated. You are not merely a passive victim, you are an active participant in a system that is slowly eroding your very essence. It is a silent epidemic that has sapped the joy from living, the depth from relationships, and the meaning from existence. But despair is not the answer, for within this dark labyrinth, a flicker of hope remains. It is the spark of rebellion, the refusal to be a mere puppet. Desire may be the driving force of our actions, but it is not the sole determinant. You have the power to choose which desires to nurture, which to challenge, and which to transcend. By cultivating mindfulness, you can observe your desires without judgment, understanding their root causes and societal influences. This newfound clarity allows you to make conscious choices, to align your actions with your authentic self rather than the dictates of a desire machine. The path to liberation is paved with small but significant steps. It begins with recognizing the puppeteers, understanding their tactics, and most importantly, reclaiming your agency. This journey is not about eradicating desire, but about transcending it, about rising above the machinations that have held you captive for so long. It's a step towards a life lived on your own terms, a life that values authenticity, connection, and purpose over the hollow echoes of endless wanting. The world needs you to wake up. It needs you to shed the shackles of desire and embrace the power of your authentic self. The time for action is now. Don't wait for the puppet masters to pull the strings of your fate. Rise up, rebel against the tyranny of desire, and take control of your life once again. Imagine standing in a vast, dark forest, the trees towering and dense, their branches tangled like the web of your deepest desires. You've been wandering this labyrinth for years, chasing shadows, hoping to find a clearing, a place of peace, of rest, of true fulfillment. But every path seems to lead you back to the same tangled thicket. Desire has promised you happiness, fulfillment, but delivered only frustration and despair. You are tired of the chase. Something inside you rebels. And then you hear a whisper that cuts through the noise of your own thoughts and the clamor of the world. There is another way. This is the rebellion against desire's tyranny. The first step in this rebellion is a profound mindset shift from wanting to being. Instead of defining your worth by what you acquire or accomplish, you begin to root your identity in the present moment, in your intrinsic self beyond desire. Consider the story of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. He was a prince who had everything yet felt a profound emptiness. Instead of chasing more, he turned inward, observing his desires and suffering until he transcended them. His enlightenment was not the acquisition of something new, but the release from craving itself. This rebellion against desire's grip is a reclaiming of your own agency, a refusal to be driven by forces outside your conscious control. To embark on this journey, you must first confront the paradox at the heart of desire, that the very act of wanting binds you, and that freedom lies in relinquishing the endless chase. Modern psychology supports this path. Mindfulness practices, which cultivate present-moment awareness without judgment, help you observe desires as passing phenomena rather than commands. By creating this space between stimulus and reaction, you weaken desire's automatic hold. You learn to respond rather than react, to choose rather than be compelled. But why would you choose this path? Why abandon the very thing that seems to drive human action? Because desire, left unchecked, becomes a tormentor. It whispers sweet nothings in your ear, promising joy just beyond the next hill. And yet, when you reach it, you find only fleeting pleasure followed by an even deeper discontent. You realize that the happiness you sought was an illusion, a mirage shimmering on the horizon of your mind. A life surrendered to desire is a life lived in lack, in constant insufficiency. You are never enough, neither what you have nor who you are. Your self-worth becomes a currency, fluctuating with the market value of your possessions, accomplishments, or social status. Desire corrupts too. It warps your vision, turning love into possessiveness, friendship into competition, and contentment into greed. It breeds envy, resentment, and dissatisfaction with what you have, driving you to continually chase what others have. Furthermore, a life dominated by desire is a life lived externally, a prisoner of circumstance. You chase promotions, you yearn for a partner, you hanker for a vacation, all in a desperate bid to manufacture happiness. Yet true fulfillment remains elusive. You are tossed about by the winds of fortune, never at peace. In contrast, the path of not wanting is the path of liberation. It is the way of the sage, who understands the nature of desire and yet remains unmoved by its siren call. The sage is not unfeeling. They experience the full range of human emotions, but they do so with awareness. They know that emotions are like clouds passing overhead. They may be big and dark, but they will eventually move on if you allow them to. By not feeding desire with endless chasing, you starve its power to harm. You detach from outcomes, from the need to possess, and you open yourself to a life of greater freedom, depth, and authenticity. However, don't be mistaken. This is not a call for passive resignation. The path of not wanting is not a retreat from life, but a revolution in how you engage with it. You remain active, but your actions are now guided by wisdom, not compulsion. You choose what you want because you know what you truly value, and you are willing to walk away from what no longer serves you. This is the essence of freedom. It is the ability to say yes to what is right and no to what is wrong, not out of fear or resignation, but out of conviction and strength. You stand at the edge of an infinite ocean at dawn. Before you, the horizon stretches endlessly, and the waves whisper secrets older than time. Behind you lies a tangled forest, the tangled forest of desire. You've journeyed through its thickets, wrestled with its shadows, and glimpsed the possibility of a different way of being, a life without craving and aversion. At this precipice, the ultimate truth unfolds. It is simple and shattering. Desire and suffering are not enemies to be conquered, but expressions of the same underlying reality, the will itself. Arthur Schopenhauer's philosophy reveals that the will is the blind, restless force that animates all life. To desire is to participate in the will. To suffer is to feel its relentless pressure. But here's the paradox. The will cannot be extinguished. It is the essence of life itself. And yet, through understanding and transcendence, you can step outside its compulsive cycle. This transcendence is not an escape into oblivion, but a radical reorientation of consciousness. It is the realization that your true self is not the fragmented ego chasing endless desires, but the silent witness observing the dance of craving and aversion. This witness is untouched by the fluctuations of the will, serene amid the storm. It is the space between impulses, the stillness beyond thought, the eternal now. Herein lies the paradigm shift. Freedom is not the fulfillment of desire, but the liberation from desire's dominion. When you stop defining yourself through what you want or what you lack, you awaken to a deeper, unchanging reality. This awakening does not deny life's joys or pains, but embraces them with equanimity, seeing them as waves on the ocean rather than the ocean itself. It reframes your entire existence. The suffering you once feared becomes a teacher, a gateway to wisdom rather than a curse. The void you dreaded becomes a canvas for creation, a space where meaning arises spontaneously rather than being forced. The relentless pendulum of pain and boredom slows, revealing the stillness at its center. Think of the metaphor of the flame. Desire is the flickering fire that illuminates your path, but also threatens to consume you. The ultimate truth is the flame's source, the radiant, unburning light that sustains the fire, yet remains untouched by it. This light is your true nature, the essence beyond craving and aversion. This realization is not merely philosophical, it is deeply practical. It transforms how you engage with life, with others, and with your own mind. You begin to act not from compulsion, but from freedom, not from fear, but from love and compassion. Your goals shift from accumulation to presence, from control to surrender, from fragmentation to wholeness. The cinematic conclusion to this journey is both haunting and inspiring. You stand alone on the shore as the dawn breaks over the infinite sea. The chest of gold you once clutched has dissolved, but in its place you hold something far more precious, an unshakable peace born from the surrender to what is. The stars above are not distant observers, but reflections of the light within you, eternal and unbound. As you gaze into the horizon, the great question returns, transformed. What if the only way to win is to stop playing? Now you know the answer. The game never ends, but you can choose to no longer be its pawn. You can become the player who moves with the rhythm of the will, not against it, dancing freely in the eternal now.